Do you guys remember about a year ago when The Rock returned with his glasses and his vest and he was talking shit to the audience and he told that specific audience that he would slap the herpes off of their lips? Well, ladies and gentlemen, imagine waking up in the morning, getting ready to go to work, bitch. You got your Starbucks coffee, you got your cell phone, you're ready to start the day, bitch. You get to work, you clock in without knowing you're at risk of contracting an STD while at work. But the gag is, you're not a doctor, you're not a nurse, you don't work at a hospital and or some type of clinic or some infectious disease center. You are a wrestler. Mandy Rose, once again, is spilling more tea on some of the things she experienced and went through while at the WWE NXT. Let's get into it. Former WWE NXT talent Mandy Rose recently revealed on her podcast that there was a herpes outbreak in NXT, which led to WWE needing to clean the rings more frequently. The virus is known as herpes gladiatorium. They tried to make that sound like it's something amongst gladiators. Like, oh, gladiators, they get herpes, so it's not such a bad thing. Let's go wrestle. But generally, it's called mat herpes, a common skin infection in contact sports like wrestling that spreads throughout skin-to-skin contact. So Mandy Rose is pretty much giving here that there was an outbreak in NXT. She really did not give like a specific time or like, you know what I'm saying, like dates and all of that stuff, so that we could kind of like figure out who was wrestling at that time and who maybe, you know, what was what. But it still does raise a lot of question within WWE policy, how much the people actually do get like tested, or how much or how frequently they actually do have, you know, these testings so they could be qualified to actually be in the ring. And at the end of the day, the question is, why didn't the WWE maybe not shut down for a small quarantine? Or like, why did we not get like a quality assurance sanitization going on here so that we could maybe control the outbreak, get all the wrestlers who needed treatment, and then kind of like revamp? Because at the end of the day, their health is like the major concern, the biggest thing. They're wrestlers, so they need their bodies, they need their immune systems and all of that, like, to be able to continue to perform. Although they make it seem like, you know, HSV1 and like cold sores and mat herpes and skin herpes and stuff like that is like a common thing and it's nothing to worry about. Ladies and gentlemen, it is untreatable. They really don't have a cure to like eradicate this thing. And although it can like be in some forms of like remission, or, you know, it can be like undetectable, you could definitely still have it. So my question here is like, you know, for the wrestlers that initially had it, whether that was cold sores and or genital, because it can be something that's contracted and passed sexually, which we can talk about that later. It's just like, how were those wrestlers initially cleared to still show up to NXT, wrestle, practice, you know what I'm saying, sweat, use towels, use showers, be amongst the other people, you know, maybe come into contact, body contact, that whole thing? How were these individuals cleared to do that if we're having these testings, you know what I'm saying? Like they're making it seem, because Mandy Rose also stated that, they were made to clean the rings before practicing, you know what I'm saying? And upon leaving in and out of the rings, they themselves were made to clean the rings, and they were cleaned by the staff. But that whole thing kind of seemed like a thing of hazing, because she pointed out that, it was a thing of, oh, if you want to be here, show us how much you want to be here. Clean these rings before and after you use them. And yeah, just might want to clean them real good, because, there may be some mat herpes, kind of laying around waiting for you guys to do a frog splash onto the mat. It's like, what? So WWE, y'all should have definitely shut down operations and got some new fucking mats. I'm just wondering, what type of cleaning solutions did y'all use? And that led me into looking up, how long does, VHS1, herpes, cold sores, all that stuff, like how long does it last on surfaces? And it's definitely like different time, it's like different time zones for how long this stuff can last on a surface. Anywhere from 8 hours to 7 weeks. And it's just like, bitch, ain't no cleaning, honey. Girl, I don't know. Ain't no sanitizer, ain't no bleach. Get me a new mat top, or we're going to have to coat this mat with something where it's going to be like super resistant to sweat, bacteria, and this shit is going to be able to be wiped off and just going to glide off of this mat. What are we going to use, bitch? Girl, we need volcano lava to clean these fucking mats. Okay, period. And I'm just going to be real with you guys. It's absolutely no shade. I did not know anything about mat herpes. Total novice to that whole realm of contracting HSV1 and or cold sores and stuff like that in that way, until like I read up on hundreds of threads that came from like high school kids and like people that wrestled, and like everybody from like backyard wrestling to like people that wrestled in college, that talked about like getting like mat herpes. Like they, tell their stories, and although online it makes it seem like, it's this common thing and everyone in the world has the same risk, but it's just like common sense would say that wrestlers would have more of a risk, because they're always wrestling, they're always in the ring, in and out of like training facilities, gym facilities, actual shows, you know what I'm saying, locker rooms, the whole 9 yards. Like wrestlers and people who are like in more of a contact sport, I would definitely suggest that they are more at risk. But anyway, it's funny that also too, it says here that you can't contact it through sweat, but it can be contacted through skin to skin direct contact, and you could get it from towels, benches, toilet seats, and stuff like that as well. So that is just very funny to me, which leads me into the sexual aspect of all this, because baby, sure enough, we have definitely heard and seen reports of different scandals, all the way from back in the day to today's time. And baby, we know in them back rooms, in them locker rooms, baby, in them secret back rooms or wherever, the wrestlers is getting it on. Whether they married, single, in complicated relationships or whatever. We've seen Natalia place her hand over somebody's private parts and it was taken in a picture. We've seen Xavier Woods and Paige back in the day. We have all the allegations of the things that Vince McMahon have done, okay? Sharding on the girl's head. Okay, bitch. Okay, this too also lets us know that HSV1 herpes could be a thing within this specific community. Now, I'm not trying to come for the people that's married, but at the end of the day, girl, there's probably some crazy shit that be going on behind closed doors and in those locker rooms, bitch. Okay, period. So for me, it's just giving a few and or one wrestler in NXT and or WWE, SmackDown and or Raw for that matter, I'm gonna throw in allegedly, but one person and or several could have had HSV1 and or herpes, and was still allowed to be in the ring, still allowed to practice, still allowed to, have close contact. Those things were either swept under the rug, they were either ignored, or the wrestler maybe did not adhere to warnings and or suggestions. I don't know. But it's just very funny how, we've not really gotten any reports either of these type of things being stopped, and WWE maybe having like these type of quarantines. Like, if we were on lockdown and we had WWE shows where there was no audience and we were tuning in virally, WWE definitely can work something out as to where they can make sure we got fresh ring mats, baby. Think about it. As much as those wrestlers, I'm not talking about behind the scenes. We know a lot go on there within practices and everything too, but just think about when they're in ring, you guys. The sweat, the spitting. I'm talking about when they're taunting, when they get hit, spit flying out their mouth from a super kick. That close body contact when you're grappling or when you're rolling somebody up for a pin and or getting ready to slam somebody, putting someone over your head, picking somebody up for like a suplex or like an electric chair, anything, like having their crotch in your face. They do real like sexual suggestive stuff now, like they grinding on private parts and pinning each other on top of private parts and doing backward bends and licking their fingers and stuff. Like, girl, it's like blowing kisses and like licking the side of each other's face. You got people getting knocked out, blood flying. Oscar getting teeth knocked out. Shayna Baszler getting bit, blood everywhere. Shayna Baszler biting other people. It's a lot with that. So, I think we maybe need to get the WWE, once they sign their contracts, baby, everybody need to sit down for a bloodborne pathogen workshop. Everybody. I'm talking about staff. I'm talking about creative. Everybody in catering, bitch. The janitors. We need everybody to be in this class, because it's just like, I feel like with what Mandy Rose has given us and with, what we can maybe allude to, we don't have to reach and pull and grab all that much, ladies and gentlemen. But from this info, from this dish, I really feel like WWE maybe really don't even care. Like, okay, like, y'all spray the mat, practice if y'all want to, but y'all better have y'all shit together when it come time for the real show. Herpes or not. We don't give a damn, bitch. Period. So, I don't know. Let me know what you guys think about this. Definitely hit me up in the comment section below. Like, share, subscribe, hit that bell notification, and I'll see you guys in the next installment, bitch.
Ooh, I done been down bad in them trenches, had to ride with that stick. Ooh, who gave you pills? Who gave that dust? Pluto Central.